Hello, this is Eddie Judd from Crestwood Middle School, and I'd like to give you an introduction to Trimble SketchUp for my pre-engineering academy students. So first thing I want to do is introduce a few things to you, the goals for this lesson. Some of the goals that I hope to get through this lesson for you is how to open and select a template. I would then like to go through SketchUp's menu bar and its screen features, then deal with some of the mouse controls for the program. For example, the orbit feature and the pan feature, the zoom feature, and the zoom extends feature. And then finally, I'm going to show you how to orient your screen so that you can begin to create wonderful inventions and innovations. So let's get this thing started. When you get to the computer lab, you're going to find this little icon right here, SketchUp 2013. As you can see, it's a shortcut. So if you just double click on that, it's going to bring up the SketchUp Make feature. And this is a free version. You can actually download this from Trimble, and doesn't cost you anything. It takes about maybe 20 minutes to install. And what we're going to do is, as you can see, when you open it up, it gives you a nice little learn feature and teaches you a few things. But I'm going to go through a lot of that. The very first thing I want you to do is choose a template. So right here where it says choose template, just click on that. And there are a number of different types of designs that you can use on this. Simple template, you can use the simple templates, you can do the architectural ones, there's Google Earth modeling, engineering. You would think we'd want to use this, but because the background's all white, it's kind of difficult for some beginners, so I'm not going to use that today. Product designs, plan view, beginner templates. To be quite honest, I believe the simple template in feet and inches is actually the easiest one to use. So when you're ready, just click on that and then start using SketchUp, and it's going to open a screen for you. And as you can see, you have a nice little individual here on a three-dimensional space. The sky is blue, the ground is green. That's very helpful for helping you to be able to decide how this is going. And the features that I want to focus on today are up here. The orbit feature, the pan feature, the zoom feature, and the zoom extends feature. So now that we have that, I want to just make sure that we're on the same thing as the goals that we talked about earlier. So what I have here is the mouse, and just like any other mouse feature on any other computer, if you left click, you can click and hold and you can highlight things. If you just click on it, you can, like, I can select the gentleman that's standing there. If you didn't want to do that, you can always highlight him and do it that way. It really doesn't make a difference. If you right click on him, it'll give you a bunch of interesting menus that you can go through, but we're not going to deal with a lot of that today since this is the first lesson. But let's start with the orbit. Now, the orbit feature is probably the most powerful feature of this because it allows you to fly around anywhere you want on the screen. So I can move underneath the gentleman and I can spin him around and look at a different direction. Now, he keeps turning to face me all the time, but as I start to build things, you'll see that you can look at different things. I'm also using the wheel. I can zoom out and zoom in, which is helpful. But the really cool thing is if you don't have the orbit feature depressed, if you just click and hold down on your mouse wheel, you'll see that the orbit button comes up automatically, and then so you can very quickly go to orbit while you're choosing him, and then you can orbit and move something around. It's a very powerful tool, so you'll get used to doing that very quickly. If you prefer not to spin around him like that but just kind of move, you can use the hand feature. And this little pan feature is going to simply allow me to slide him back and forth on the screen. But as you can see, I'm not orbiting that individual. I'm actually moving him through, and I can continue down the line. And as you can see, that green line is slowly, it continues to get less steep because I'm moving further and further away. So I'm going to roll out so you can see I'm pretty far away from him. The nice feature about this is that you also have a zoom feature and a zoom extends. The zoom extends feature is by far very cool because if you get too far away or too close, you can just click and it takes him right back to where you were designing or what you have selected on the screen, which is very, very helpful. Well, I know it's not in the right order, but the last one that I wanted to show you was the zoom feature right here. And the zoom feature acts very similar to a mouse wheel. If you click the button and then you push and hold your left button down and you move it up, you can zoom into the person or zoom away as you move down. But however, I found this is not a very good tool because I find that the mouse wheel is far more powerful. Even if you don't move directly up or down, like say I move diagonally, as long as I'm moving in an up or down motion, I'm still only going to zoom in or out on that same exact spot. The nice thing is if you use the wheel, by contrast, if I zoom in on the face, I can zoom directly on his face, or I can zoom back out and zoom directly in on his shoe. So that's a little more powerful, so I think the wheels are probably a better use of the tool than this magnifying glass, the zoom feature up here. It's not very powerful, but I wanted to show it to you nevertheless. That being said, I wanted to make sure that you understood the mouse controls, the orbit, the pan, the zoom, and the zoom extents. That being said, I did want to mention one more thing, and that's how to create your screen so we can do the wonderful inventions and innovations. A lot of people think it would be really ideal to have the axes right here in the middle, or that kind of makes a little bit of a distraction when you're trying to create things, especially when you're trying to do these rectangular things or large rooms. So what I tend to do when I'm doing this is I take the hand and I tend to move my axis all the way down here, and then I'll use the orbit feature, and I'm going to try to move him over, and as you can see, the green line's kind of moving more into a Y fashion, so it's more like the Y-axis, and then I kind of slide this down to give me the X-axis with the red. And it's never going to be perfect because you're always going to have that little angled thing happening. This blue axis, which is acting as the Z-axis for us, that's going to help you with some height later on. But this is how I tend to want my screen to look when I'm actually doing the designing. And of course, as soon as you zoom out, it moves back to the center. So you know, depending on how large you're going to go, you may want to continue to move it over and zoom out and move over. It depends on how large of an area that you're working with. So that's basically what I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that I was able to cover these areas with you: how to open and select the template, the SketchUp menu bar and screen features, the mouse control program, mouse controls for the program, the orbit, the pan, the zoom I'm not real pleased with, and then the zoom extents. And then finally, I wanted to make sure you understood how to orient your screen so that you can begin creating these wonderful inventions and innovations that we're going to be doing in this course. So my name is Mr. Judd. Thank you for viewing. I'll be back very soon and show you some neat features, especially these drawing features that are coming up over here, and then some of our more powerful tools in the next episode. But that'll be next time. So thanks a lot, guys.